Ubisoft had a rough time these last years, especially when we're talking about the AC franchise, which spiraled down after the great success of Black Flag. Come on, face it, we all thought it would only become better since we were sailing like kings, exploring the vast, insanely huge world on Edward Kenway's ship. Unity came out and brought us back to zero, with only one big city filled with a lot, and I mean a lot of bugs. Story-wise the game did an okay job, but with that everything was set. Syndicate has been out and about for a small while now, and after all those great reviews I was really ready for playing another awesome Assassin's Creed. So, did we stumble upon another hit or a miss? I have the definitive answer right here.
Think you both can handle it?
What a question.
All right. My mistake. Ladies and gentlemen, the unstoppable Fry twins. See them nightly at Covent Garden.
It is for the first time that we can play with two characters, as in switch between the twins Fry, namely Jacob and Evie. Where brawler Jacob is the main protagonist in many story missions, you can also grab Evie during most of the other activities. Where her brother wants to start a gang and fix London, our female protagonist is trying to find the so-called Shroud, to prevent that evil minds don't abuse its power. Soon enough the two have an own agenda and are growing apart more and more. As you progress through the story, you will find a lot of allies for who you can do favors in the form of side missions. Every character has something to keep you amused, which is a great thing. The humor between the twins is well done also, and they really remind you of brother and sister bickering. As always, there are more than enough famous characters in this title, and the mix of the story and historical facts fits great. There is once again a small piece of modern time story going on, but Ubisoft chose to do this only in form of small cinematic scenes that absolutely don't take a lot of time to get through. We can cry enough about Ubisoft, but when it comes to graphics there is only high quality. Every monument and street is detailed in a maximum way. Bugs might be there, but in my experience they are at a minimum and not game breaking. Frame rate is smoothly handled around 30 frames per second, and this all has been supported by a day one patch of only 500 MB. This is how it should be. Sure, no patch at all is a nice dream, but face it, the bigger a game, the more work it needs afterwards. Smaller things like footsteps and puddles are added as well this time, which was a strange thing missing in the disaster called Unity. It is my personal opinion that the reason why Syndicate runs smoother is because of the decrease of NPC characters who are roaming the streets of London. In Unity there are so many characters breeding that this might have been one of the causes of the problems Unity had. It feels much more realistic in this Assassin's Creed title, but it certainly doesn't affect the way it brings Syndicate to life. While the map is filled with stuff to do, I can promise you, try and stand still here and there to eavesdrop on a couple hugging in a park. Or politicians discussing terms of agreement. I even had the idea to have found civilians who were planning some secret criminal activity. It made me smile and appreciate the detail of this AC game.
You are very much mistaken. And now you are so very, very tired, aren't you?
Yes, I'm very, very tired.
From the moment you are free to roam the map, you can truly pick your thing from a wide variety of things to undertake. Whether it's taking back a piece of the map from the competing gangs and ending up if unlocked in a gang war, or simply rob a train. Maybe you want to go out there and collect all the stuff from flowers to tasting all of the types of beer, or simply collect posters in every region. Sure, it has always been there, but somehow works very addictive, and saying one more hour happens quite fast. The most interesting new additional tool is the so-called grappling hook. There was an understandable piece of criticism about how it made the game feel more like a part of the Batman franchise, but I have to say that it still stands on its own and is a great addition on how you can travel from point A to B. Skills are almost the same for Jacob and Evie, but some sets can only be unlocked for Evie and some for her brother. Like I said earlier, where Jacob is a real heads-on fighter, Evie just feels more like an assassin, and that's what we expect after all in an AC game. The fighting feels great, but they can work a bit more on the smoothness. This however doesn't make the fighting feel any less good. Brutal moves can be unlocked and look, or better yet, feel absolutely rewarding. One thing that bothered me however was the struggling AI of the enemies, which sometimes did not react at all the moment you were standing next to them. The soldiers have not evolved in whatsoever way and makes the game easy to complete. You would expect that even Ubisoft came up with a better AI to make it a challenge for you. But no, the soldiers are a constant reminder that you play a video game, especially one from Ubisoft.
Whoa!
Yes, it's true, you can ride carriages, from big ones to smaller. Whether you steal them or grab them off the sidewalk, this is all doable. I have to say that sometimes during races, which are possible as well, some other carriages in traffic were too much in the way. I understand that traffic has to exist, but there are limits. Still, it's only a small issue, so driving on busy roads mostly works out fine. It's also very cool to simply fight on a driving carriage. By standing on the roof, it's a great addition. Next to this, it's of course a normal thing to bump enemies off the road in any direction you want. You just have to try and get an opposite carriage to flip over. It simply puts a smile on your face. Like I already said, there are many characters in the game and some of them become allies for who you have to do certain missions. For these missions you receive rewards in form of money and weapons. Schedules are also handed out for making new weapons yourself. Next to receiving these as rewards, you will also be able to find them in the many chests per region on the map. Soon enough you'll see a strange icon on the right side of your map. And I just had to share this with you, my fellow gamers, because when you go there, the game will take you back to the time of the very first World War. Here you get a whole new small map, where you can play as the mother of the twins. The atmosphere in this segment of the game almost feels like a complete add-on, and is very well done. From airplanes who you have to take down, to spies that you must assassinate to protect England. It's a very welcome extra for Syndicate and will give you only more to do in this already big enough AC title.
Easy. Steady on.
Come on, you wait for the daisies.
Anyone would join the Rooks is...
While many things did not really change, there are just enough fresh ideas to say that this is definitely a good step for an Assassin's Creed game. Kidnapping is one of those cool things to do, especially the reactions of the criminal masterminds that you will receive while guiding them towards a carriage. I mean, they are absolutely priceless. Of course, old school assassinations are active here as well. I mean, this has always been the main road to take in this franchise. Unlocking viewpoints are still great to experience as well, and diving into haystacks stays a must-do thing. The Thames has its own missions as well, where you must destroy cargo or steal plans from criminals. This all while the ships and boats are moving through the water, which is pretty exciting.
George, honestly, I've studied the plans of the laboratory and have every route covered.
And I've got all I need right here. I'll extend your regards to Ferris.
Chat later, George. We've a train to catch.
Jacob! Evie! May the Creed guide you, you vagrants!
I know there are still no ways to travel on your own ship, but it doesn't really feel necessary in Syndicate. The world's different enough while it still stays the same in a safe way. Yes, you can see that Ubisoft didn't make huge changes, but the smaller steps are fresh enough at the same time. Especially since the game runs absolutely gorgeous. Playing as Evie gave me the feeling of being an assassin more than with Jacob, but the humor was stronger with him nonetheless. The story is okay, but nothing that drops your jaw, but with so many things to do, this really doesn't bother that much. The biggest flaw of Syndicate has to be the AI of the enemies, which hasn't evolved at all, but it still doesn't stand in the way of giving you an amazing experience. I had a hell of a time playing this Assassin's Creed game and advise you to do this as well. I gave Assassin's Creed Syndicate a score of 80%. If you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe, like, or share a comment on your opinion. Questions are welcome too, and I will see you back here soon.